Everybody. I hope everybody can hear us and can see the presentation. In case you don't, please let me know in the chat. So yeah, welcome. I'm happy to host this webinar again. Today, co-hosted together with StoryStream. We have Charlotte here. She will be, in a second, present herself and her company StoryStream. In general, I would like to welcome everyone to our new webinar with the title From Scrolling to Shopping. We would like to give you a deep dive into the topic of community commerce today, why we are talking about community commerce. So in general, our aim with this session is to show you as brand managers, as marketing managers, or as e-commerce managers that community commerce is a huge opportunity to transform your e-commerce customer journey into a more, let's say, people-centric, social, and engaging experience, especially leveraging the authentic content from your own community. Who are the people who are talking to you today? So first of all, it's me. I'm Pascal. I'm head of marketing at Territory Influence, a full-service influencer marketing agency. We're operating globally and with all kinds of influencers, if there's someone who hasn't heard from us yet. By my side, there's Juliette, our content marketing manager. She will, today give you some practical insights. So she will, add some case studies to our theory, so you can see that, how everything works in practice, basically. And last but not least, there's Charlotte from StoryStream, who we created the webinar with together, and I'm very happy, that you're here today with us.
Yeah, thanks, Pascal. So it's nice to virtually meet you all. This is the first Territory Time StoryStream webinar, so it's super exciting for us. And as Pascal mentioned, I'm the content marketing manager for StoryStream. And StoryStream is a visual commerce platform which specializes in connecting brands to authentic user-generated content to enhance their customers' digital experience. So you'll hear more about that today.
Nice. Yeah, exactly. So we're going to talk about authentic content, definitely. So one of the StoryStream core competencies. But besides this, we're going to start quickly with a introduction to the topic. We just quickly explain what are the main elements of community commerce and why it is relevant to boost your online sales. Then we will dive deeper into the authentic content, especially focusing on user-generated content and influencer-generated content in specific. Going on to Gen Z specific, because of course this generation will be the upcoming purchasing power, at least in a few years. So we definitely want to have a look at their purchasing preferences and especially what kind of content convinces them in their e-commerce journey. And lastly, we wrap up everything and give you some tips for the next year. In general, this session is recorded, so don't worry if you need to leave earlier or if you joined later. You're going to get the recording together with the PDF, so the presentation. And if you have some questions afterwards, also, we're going to have some time to answer them, or you can, of course, reach us afterwards as well.
So before we dive into today's webinar, I'd like to highlight the groundwork we've laid to ensure that the information we're sharing today is not only relevant, but also based on real-world data. So as you can see on our slide, we conducted our own global survey resulting in 24K insights about online shopping behavior, but also peer group influences. So all the numbers that you're going to see through the presentation is from our survey from this August. So who was part of our survey? Let's have a look at the numbers. So as I just mentioned, we had more than 24,000 consumers from our community that responded to our survey. More than 85% of them were females and almost 15% were males. People participated from across like 13 different markets: Germany, France, UK, Spain, Italy, Hungary, Australia, Ireland, Canada, US, Australia, basically all across the world. And our panel is aged from 18 to 86, so covering pretty much all generation, including everyone.
Yeah, so with these people, we talked about community commerce more or less. But what about you? Do you know the term? Do you have any experience with it? Maybe you can just quickly give us a hands up or any reaction in the chat or with the emojis. Nice. I see some thumbs up. So some of you have heard of it, some of you don't, which is good because then, yeah, Charlotte can tell you a bit more about it.
Thanks, Pascal. So as we just saw, some of you are familiar with the term community commerce. So prior to our webinar, we asked our community, as Juliette just said, which content gives you a positive experience? And 63% of people said that authenticity and relatability came out on top. And this was closely followed by funny content, which I think we can all appreciate here. And this shows the high relevance of authentic content in your customer's buying process and why it really should be a core pillar in your strategy. So at the heart of being authentic is showcasing content from your community through community commerce. Now, when we talk about community commerce, we're talking about, you guessed it, the unity of content, community, and commerce. It's pretty plain and simple there on the slide. So by content, what do we mean? So content comes from creators. And who are creators? So creators are anyone in your community who is creating content for you, whether that's your users, influencers you're working with, employees or partners, literally anyone creating or sharing your content for your brand. So creators are invaluable in driving engagement because they boost discovery. You know, I'm sure so many of you have scrolled on Instagram, been retargeted with things. You know, you're always digesting content. So creators can help to inspire audiences to try new products, and they also help to make your brand relatable. And commerce, I don't think I really need to explain that too much. It is what it says on the tin. It's the process of buying and selling your goods or services. Now, brands, your community. So your community is that group of people who actively have an interest in your brand. You probably know who they are, and they are the ones who are passionate about your products and services. You know, you probably have a prominent community of fans behind your brand, and having that really propels you ahead of your competitors. You'll see the likes of, you know, Nike, who have a huge community of fans who love their brand and are always praising them, shouting about how good their products are, and sharing content. So the likelihood is you do have this community, but you're maybe not engaging with them and bringing their content to the foreground. Now, authentic content, as we've just said, will build that credibility of both your brand and the creator, and will also help you to nurture and grow those engaged communities. Now, when we talk community, they're the new version of word of mouth. They are often found sharing or recommending products on social media, and this is where social commerce plays a pivotal role. Now, we're going to talk about social commerce and community commerce. So social commerce involves using social media platforms and social interactions to help buying and selling products or services. It integrates like all the social elements into the online shopping experience, such as user reviews, recommendations, and sharing, you know, the experiences people have had with your products. And community commerce, on the other hand, revolves around building a community of like-minded people who share a love, a passion, an interest in your brand or specific products that you sell. And these communities are often formed around sharing passions, and they create a sense of belonging. So within the context of community commerce, social commerce plays a pivotal role in enhancing those community interactions. So members of a brand community will use social medias to share products, reviews, and recommendations with other people. In fact, our survey found that 64% of customers made a purchase based on a recommendation from a friend on social media. Again, I think we can all relate there. I'm always pinging my boyfriend different things on Instagram, like we need to buy this, we need this for our living room. So that's so relatable, and it's so true in everything. But it doesn't stop there. Customers also use social media to seek authentic content in every stage of their buying journey. And having an active community of people sharing authentic content for your brand is crucial. So when we talk about community content, community content is authentic content because it's content created by your community, and it generally falls into these categories. So you may have user-generated content, which is content such as reviews, photos and videos, and these are naturally created as a result of social and community commerce. And they're really valuable when it comes to making purchase decisions. Now, think of the community of people around you, whether this is friends, families, or colleagues, and what brands they are tagging or talking about on social. Now let's talk about influencers. I've worked really closely with Territory on this webinar, and this is their bread and butter. Now, influencers are often considered members of a brand's community, and they play a really significant role in social commerce. They help to leverage products and services within the community, and they help to bridge that gap between social media and commerce. That's all from me, Pascal.
Thanks. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we want to dive deeper into today. So we want to show you some examples. We want to show you some data around influencer-generated content and user-generated content. First of all, because it is content where we can all support you to create it, but also because it's very, very relevant and should be strategically leveraged along your customer journey. So maybe for those of you who are not quite sure what's exactly the difference between user-generated and influencer-generated content, just quickly, user-generated content is content created by, let's say, regular, normal people, like consumers, employees, partners, followers, like people of everyday life, let's say. In Territory, we also call them nano-influencers. Why? Because they're producing content organically, like intrinsic, like it's not that they're going to get paid. They might get some products in exchange, but the whole content creation is based on a voluntary process, let's say. So brands, of course, don't have to control what's happening. People also know the term earned media. So it's just posts where you're tagged, where you have a review from maybe. So you don't really have an influence on that. However, it's of course the most authentic content you can get, because people just do it out of their, they just want to show the brand, they want to show the product because they most of the time like it, or maybe they dislike it. Then they also get a review, which is okay. That's at least honest. But yeah, just to give you an idea of what is user-generated content, can become in all kind of formats, videos, like Charlotte was mentioning a lot of examples, videos, posts, reviews, all kind of podcasts, I don't know, all kind of, like, let's say, a content format. And then if influencer generated content on the other side, which is content created by an influencer or creator within a corporation. So content which is done especially for a corporation, for a brand, for, let's say, a website, I don't know. So it's really kind of, it has this kind of job to be done element. However, it is still very authentic content. Influencers know their audience. Influencers know the channels they're present on. So it's also a bit more, let's say, under control from the brand side. However, it is still a very personalized, authentic, and highly targeted content. So yeah, we also talked with our community about user-generated content, and we had several questions. And what came out of this again is that user-generated content really has really a power and an impact from the discovery phase until the purchasing phase, until like the conversion phase. So user-generated content in this case is an authenticity booster, especially when people start to discovering brands, seeing brands on social media, thinking about maybe I don't know, purchasing something, you see that from our survey, 60% are more likely to trust and engage with brands which use user-generated content than only brand-created content. So you really see people want other people using the brand, want to see how this product is used, how it can be, I don't know, set and seen, be in the real life, to really build trust to this specific brand and product. The same when you follow the journey. So 90% seek out for UGC before making a purchase decision, which means you all know that. You scan Instagram, you scan other social media platforms where you see, for example, people buying a dress, wearing a dress. So you can really imagine how this would look like instead of just seeing a product shot. So again, user-generated, very relevant, and a conversion booster. And last but not least, it's also a loyalty booster. So retention can also be improved by user-generated content. In this case, nearly 90% say that they are more likely to remain loyal to a brand, which in this case can, of course, be buying the product again, if they find that brand trustworthy and authentic. And as we know, people perceive user-generated content as trustworthy and authentic. So here again, the power of user-generated content, cannot be ignored.
Great. So now you've seen the data, let's test it. So of these two images, which would you rather shop? Now, if you could pop a number in the chat, just so we can get a feel for what image is preferred. Amazing. Just as I thought. So at StoryStream, we like to use this quote from Emily Wise, the CEO of Glossier, who said, Amazon really solved buying, but killed shopping in the process. Now, if you think of how you shop on Amazon, I bet you search in the search bar and then you click on the product most relevant that fits your budget. But you don't shop on Amazon. You don't browse because the site is static, it's transactional, and it's very uninspiring. The impact of this is you lose sales and there's no loyalty. No one, wants to browse your website, wants to keep coming back to see new things. It's a very practical, transactional solution. Now enter authentic user-generated content, which shows your products in real life and enhances your customer experience and also increases the time on site as well as your average order value. So how can you use UGC and make your e-commerce experience authentic? So you can make your UGC shoppable and use social proof galleries. So you could have a UGC gallery on your homepage. You could have an inspiration gallery on your website. Places where your customers are going to find your products. They can also go and browse other people wearing your products and get inspiration, and it might encourage them to buy more products or to try something they haven't thought of buying before. Another thing, that's really impactful is live video shopping and shoppable video. Now, you'll see later on that, the statistics against this are really powerful. And this is the way that a lot of content is moving. We're moving to a much more visually engaging video experience when customers are online. And then finally, a shoppable link in bio. So most of you are probably familiar with this concept on Instagram. You can click a link in bio. Now let's make it shoppable. Let's put user-generated content in that link in a gallery and be engaging with your customers where they are already consuming content. So right on social media like Instagram, that I'm sure we're all on regularly, if you're anything like me. But we'll delve deeper into these with some case studies later on in the presentation. So for now, we just really wanted to strip it back and show you what the UGC journey is for marketers. Now we've simplified it down into 4 simple steps: creating the content, sourcing the content from your users, making it visible, and finally making it shoppable. But don't worry, we're not going to stop there. So so firstly, you need to decide whether you need to create your content. Now, this is where the likes of influencer campaigns, community activations, things like hashtag, UGC journey, to encourage your community to share their content, or challenges and events. You know, these can really help you to create content. Or you could source the content. So you could source the content through hashtags, accounts, sourcing tools, or community galleries. Now, next, you need to make that content visible. There's no point having a beautiful set of content if you're not putting it in front of your consumers. So this would be putting it on your website. This would be using it on your social channels, maybe through that link in bio shoppable storefront, to make it visible and be where your customers are. And then finally, make it shoppable. Make that buying journey super easy for your customers. If they like something that they see in a piece of UGC that you've put out, make it shoppable. Put a link to that product in that image so that they can click it and go straight through to the website where they can purchase it. So yeah, they're the 4 top tips from us. And over to you, Julia.
Yeah, going on with cases about creating UGC. Creating UGC is really like creating massive UGC, authentic and real content is one of our core competencies at Territory Influence. And as Pascal was mentioning a bit earlier during the presentation, we call consumers nano-influencer. Now, this type of influencer can be leveraged to scale up your content creation and be sure to have like good quality, but also relevant content for your brand. So, for instance, here we have one example with the case of Caudalie, the French cosmetic brand. For them, we created 21,000 content pieces for the brand. The original goal of the campaign was to increase awareness for the relaunch of the product, and for this matter, we selected almost 9,000 consumers, so unpaid nano influencers, who then shared as they likely shared the word on social media, so the brand could reuse the content on their own social channels, but also on the websites and on review platforms. So after 2 months of product education, of sharing experiences, we saw that 2.4 million offline peer-to-peer recommendations were generated, which like is huge. And I think what's worked best in this campaign is that like the message was really coming from the consumers and not directly from the brand, which really like push and created a lot of credibility to the product and to Caudalie.
Yeah, and not too dissimilar, but where StoryStream worked with Maybelline on that source it section of the UGC journey. So we helped Maybelline DE to source authentic user-generated content so they could use it in their paid media strategy on Instagram. We then tested how different content performed. So we tested brand generated, influencer created, and this UGC. And, you know, lo and behold, UGC was shown to be the most effective. Now, it was shown to be the most effective in both reducing cost per click and in driving sales on key retailer partner sites, just truly showing how people find user-generated content so much more relatable. You know, like you were saying with nano influencers, which are unpaid consumers, they, you know, when they share their content, it's going out to the masses and people can relate to it more. And we saw it with the case study before as well, you know, just the impact that can have. And with Maybelline, we also saw a 74% increase in link clicks. So this just truly shows the power of elevating your community and engaging with your audience. Amazing. And then looking at that sell it section of the UGC journey, you know, we worked with Garnier DE to rethink that link in bio that I was mentioning earlier, using StoryStream's shoppable link in bio called Linkstream. Now, this helped to drive traffic from Instagram to the Garnier DE website, and they actually used a mixture of brand created and user generated content. So you might be thinking like, what is Linkstream? It's that fully shoppable social storefront from the link in bio. So customers on Instagram are taken through to an inspiration gallery with shoppable product links on each image and video, as you can see in the image on screen. And then these links seamlessly drive traffic through to the Garnier website. And on that website, obviously, customers can complete their purchase or they can continue browsing. So how did this perform for Garnier? Customers who visited the website through Linkstream actually spent 55% longer on site. And then there was a 24% reduction in exit rate because these customers were more engaged. They'd already gone through this journey on Instagram and been taken through to the website. And then they just wanted to browse more. So it's, yeah, really impactful, as you can see.
Nice. And you have already mentioned that in this case, user-generated content was performing best. So another option is, of course, influencer-generated content. So let's say using the consumer's content and making it a bit more professional, where you could work with influencers, and especially young generation said that in our survey, to give you a number, 76% said that influencers turn that they check influencer profiles, influencer posts for purchase decisions. So it has a similar, not as high as user-generated content, but still a very high number, which shows again that people trust influencers and see relevant reviews for their own purchase decisions. And you can see declining numbers with rising age. So of course, younger people are also more exposed, I guess, to influencers because they are more on social, are more in touch with them. However, also influencers are playing a big role in especially Gen Z, millennials, and also above 50% for Gen X. So it is definitely worth it cooperating with them. In our case, we have also, of course, the option to cooperate with, like, let's say, the professionals here, so micro, macro, and star influencers, which can all boost your visibility, which can all support to drive traffic to your web shops, and of course, support you with authentic content and increasing engagement. I mean, of course, higher engagement, maybe a bit higher with micro influencers as they are still very close to their communities. However, on the other side, with macro and star influencers, you have great image effects, and your brand is associated with this person. So both benefits you can use depending on your marketing goal, depending on in which funnel stage you want to work with them to really get the most out of it.
Yeah, so speaking of bigger influencer authenticity, we really wanted to show you this example. We worked with Olly Lingerie. It's like a lingerie brand in France. And what was really interesting about this campaign is that the content was really authentic. So lingerie can be like kind of tricky industry when you're an influencer and sharing stuff on social media. Not everyone is super comfortable with that. And with this campaign, we were really super surprised about the result because the influencer we selected fully embraced the task by going above and beyond the brief. And they really showcased the product like in the best way possible. So the client was really surprised and happy with the result. And that's why we also it's also very important to us to select influencers that matches and fit perfectly your brand value. So yeah, here are 16 micro unpaid influencers, so they were unpaid to really played the game. And what's also interesting is to see that at the end of the campaign, the 22 orders were registered from the online shop of the brand, thanks to discount that the influencer shared earlier through their stories or Instagram content.
Nice. Yeah, and as we see, not only so especially Gen Z, as we saw before, is turning to influencers. So what else does this generation prefers. So we had a specific focus and look at our data and especially at what Generation Z does. So you can really, if you want to target them, implement these kind of preferences into your strategy. Charlotte, do you want to quickly start with the preferences, what they prefer, as you already started with live stream?
Yes, so obviously, as we touched on earlier, Gen Z preferences are, live stream, video content, and diversity in content. So they want to see different body shapes, they want to see people from all backgrounds. That, Gen Z are the future. They're the way things are moving, and I do believe there's like a trickle down effect to the other generations, or maybe it's a trickle up effect. Maybe I'm wishing I was still Gen Z. So 64% would like to see more live stream. And what is it about live stream, And I think everything comes back to authenticity. So, and why is that? I think through live video, consumers get real life storytelling, which humanizes brands and helps to show the faces and personalities behind the content. So people are craving more live video content. So why not make it shoppable? So why live video shopping? So McKinsey have actually predicted that 10 to 20% of all e-commerce sales could come from live commerce by 2026. So that's only 3 years from now, which is pretty scary. But this just is reflective of the way consumer preferences have shifted. So many shoppers are seeking a seamless omni-channel experience, so online and offline, whether that's, browsing in store and buying online or vice versa. And live video shopping plays a huge part in this omni-channel experience. So live video shopping can replicate that in-store experience, but all from the comfort of your sofa or cafe, wherever you are. Now, why is it so popular? So live video gives you that transparency on what the product looks like in real life without you having to see it in real life. And through live video shopping, people can also ask questions and get immediate responses. Imagine going up to someone in Zara and asking if they had it in different sizes. It's that same experience almost. And then ultimately, customers can purchase the products that are featured in those videos directly from the video.
So here are some tips if you want to take into consideration live streams and start doing it in your strategy. So first of all, make sure to have a professional setup in order to have like a high quality results. Then if you want to level up your events, maybe think about booking a host or invite a specialist from the brand you're working with to really tap on the topic you're talking about. Then we all know that nothing is more engaging and attention-keeping than a good storytelling if you want to keep your audience interested. Then also another tip, if you want to add like a little bit of spice in your events, maybe think about creating an effect of exclusivity, maybe sharing a discount code, an exclusive discount code during your event could maybe appeal even more people to come and to join. And finally, teasing. Teasing is super important, and especially doing it across all social media and across all channels, basically, if you want to reach an even higher audience. Then coming up, our first live stream case, the first live campaign. So as we also mentioned before, according to our survey, over half of beauty shoppers actually watch content and product reviews, tutorials that are shared by real consumers on platforms such as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and also, as we said, just like before, 64% of Gen Z would actually want to see more live streams when it's about beauty products. So here, for instance, with Filorga, we worked with them to increase awareness of their innovative skincare, and in addition to more traditional content such as Instagram posts and Instagram stories, we organize a live talk with one of our influencers and also with like a specialist from Filorga. So kind of like a corporate influencer, if we could say, from them. And it was a 1 hour live during which they really shared the experience with the product, during which the specialists could really educate on the product, during which they could also share the experiences. And yeah, during the live, more than 3,000 people joined the live, which generated great attention, but also more visibility for Filorga and the products that people were able to buy after through swipeable links.
Nice. Yeah, so video is one thing Gen Z wants to see. And that's why, of course, who would have guessed it? TikTok is a quite relevant platform. That's actually from a survey from last year. We took this number. So 70% are likely to buy a product they saw on TikTok. We all know the hashtag TikTok made me buy it. We all know the feta recipes where everyone goes crazy and starts cooking feta pasta or garlic with sriracha mayonnaise and whatever. So there can be quite high sales coming out of some videos, user-generated content videos. So maybe to give you some proof. So we asked them which social media, so the whole panel, which social media platform do you think are most effective in showcasing authentic content? So you can see here marked in orange on one, there's Instagram with 42%, but straight away followed by TikTok. And by far the highest number of TikTok users comparing to the other generations. So you can really see that these two platforms, and especially TikTok, is relevant for the Gen Z audience. I thought interesting was also that millennial chose Instagram by far. So you can see Instagram has like 44, I guess. And then the next platform is here, also TikTok, but only with 22%. So you should really check the platforms. You should really check, the content, the generation you want to target wants to see. So here you also cannot always use the same content for the same generation or the same platform. You really have to adapt to be most successful.
Yeah, as Pascal said, we all know the impact of TikTok and how the content can go viral on it. So we tried to go viral too. We worked with L'Oréal to increase their online awareness and also boost their online sales. So we selected people through our community that wanted maybe to share the word about the products, and it resulted in pretty much all video type kind of video on TikTok, user-generated content they choose, and they wanted to share the product as they wish is the best. And so at the end we had like almost 300 content, and we kind of go viral too. So choose your platform.
Yeah. And also we can embrace diversity with our campaign. So like Charlotte quickly mentioned, diversity is a topic of the Gen Z. More than 50% want to see more diverse content, want to see more diverse consumer using the product. So we had different questions going into this direction of how important is diversity for you. Interesting also, like in the generation of boomers, it was only 24% who said it is very important for them. So you can also see there are different preferences in different generations.
Yeah, so last case for the road, and a bit different from the other one. But for this one, we worked with L'Oréal, and our main objective was to select the best influencer, to find the perfect match of influencer that really represented pride in the best way possible in order to represent everyone. So yeah.
Nice. Very nice campaign, and I think here you could really see how important, again, the selection is. So yeah, that's of course something where we can support. So yeah, what can you take home today from this webinar? We would just quickly wrap it up in 4 kind of tips. Charlotte, do you want to start with the first tip?
Yes. So, you know, I really feel we're in the age of authenticity. And so brands really need to activate community commerce. So everything we spoke about around, you know, being successful in the new omni-channel shopping landscape is community commerce. So igniting your passionate fan base who create this authentic and compelling content, and then utilizing this for your brand. This helps to, you know, build that trust, which ultimately builds loyalty and helps to really have that lifetime value of a customer.
Yeah, and continuing with life cycle, you can use all kind of community content. So you can think further than user-generated content, influencer-generated content. You can have corporate, you can have employees, corporate influencers. You can have word of mouth, like peer-to-peer conversation, which can actually also be triggered or done with nano influencer campaigns. You can have ratings and reviews, be it on platforms like Amazon or be it on your own website, to really boost engagement and conversion along the entire journey. So there's a big variety, and you should definitely yeah, work with them strategically at all kind of touch points.
Yeah, and I think one of the keys to, you know, that authentic journey and, you know, embracing your community is don't just interrupt your customers' online experience. Instead, be a part of it. So be putting the right content in the right place. You know, it sounds like a very traditional marketing thing, but it's so true. And as we've seen with all the insights that we shared with Gen Z, you know, if you're targeting Gen Z, have live streams, make them shoppable so that you're putting relevant content in front of the relevant audience. And maybe, you know, it's instead having an inspiration gallery on your website that's more suitable for your audience, because they're the ones just going direct to your website to shop instead of onto social media to browse.
Yeah, and last but not least, you can of course reach out to Territory or StoryStream, depending on what where you need some support. We can both help you to activate your community in different ways, to stay authentic, and of course to, at the end of the day, make you ready for 2022. Territory especially can, as I said already, help with the perfect selection, depending on your brand values, depending on your brand goal. So here we can really help and find the perfect match. We can, of course, help to create massively and real user-generated content, or also help with cooperation and create influencer-generated content. We will be there to, yeah, guide your community through the project to make sure that that you get customized content for your campaign. And also we can also go a step further and help you with social media and community management, which means that we can, of course, help you with your own channels, develop them further, and also, yeah, take care of the communication with your community members.
Yeah, and StoryStream, you know, it may have been obvious throughout, but, you know, we can help you to make your social media a social storefront with link stream. So that's the Garnier DE case that we shared, you know, making your content shoppable right in social media. So keep social, and allow your customers to shop direct from user-generated content on your website. So this could be through having a homepage gallery, or having user-generated content on your product pages, or through, you know, an inspiration gallery. So just a wall of user-generated content that is all shoppable, hosted on your website. We can also help you to source that user-generated content at scale. And something that I think is sometimes maybe missed is gathering the usage rights for that. So making sure you can use that user-generated content legally, and we can help you to manage all of that within our platform. And then embracing the content your customers are consuming. So activating that live video shopping. So we've worked with multiple people to bring live video shopping to life.
Nice. Yeah. And last but not least, we have some homework for you. No, I'm joking. So if you want to, explore some more things, feel free to have a look at the webinars of StoryStream as on a little UGC checklist from Territory, UGC. Wow, I said it so many times today. But that for later. For now, sorry, we extended the time a bit, but if you have some questions, let us know, post them in the chat or write us an email afterwards. We're happy to, guide you through your community commerce journey. And thanks for paying attention today. Thanks for being here. You're going to receive recording and presentation as promised afterwards. And thanks also Charlotte. Thanks Juliette for your insights.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pascal.
And if there are no questions, I would say have a great day and see you in the next webinar.
Great.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.